welcome to Gadgets, Grit, and Growth. I am Ashley James. If you're ready to turn bold ideas into real results, if you are excited to hear about some of the stories of how people have grown in their careers and even some of the scary ones, then this is the right place for you. And with that being said, let's get nerdy. I have been on the operating side, from being on site, living on site, that was a really small bubble, and working up to the corporate office, building different training groups and teams, corporate housing programs. Had a great opportunity to work for massive companies like Greystar, whether it be a lease up across the country or a rebuild of an existing community that just really needed a facelift. I have seen it. I started in PropTech a little over 10 years ago with my first startup Foyer, and I was able to build a real estate vertical for them during COVID. So I think I'm just one of those people that technology came naturally to. I was that one person in the office who knew how to get the Wi-Fi back connected to the printer. It was just something that was really exciting to me, and I have learned and asked as many questions as I could along the way. And here I am. I actually started an advisory 2 years ago, Strategic PropTech Advisory. I launched it at NAA Apartmentalize in Philly, which is where I live. I'm a founder, I'm a strategist, and I love to figure out how things work. This industry, if anything, we all have the same common goal from the technology side of things. We want to figure out how to make things better, how to do business better, how we can communicate better, and not just how do we make your teams more efficient. We want to figure out how to make your companies more money and to create a better experience overall. That's the nicer part. We really just want to know how to make you money. When it comes to the gadgets part of this podcast, I've worked with manufacturers formerly known as Latch, now Door. Really sexy, smart door lock. If a door lock could actually be sexy, that is a very sexy lock. All the fun James Bond gadgets you can possibly think of that might really excite somebody when they see your community or check out your apartment for the first time. And these kind of things, it's continually changing. I think one of the things I will make a point of is that hardware is rarely the problem with going off, right? It's not a carton of milk, I'm sorry. Hardware is not always your main issue. It could be built beautifully to last you 10, 20 years. The problem is software continues to grow and change. If you think about your cell phone, you're probably updating your cell phone like every 2 to 3 years. I know I do. Maybe I'm a little too quick on doing that, but I know my mother has like an iPhone 7 and that thing does not it does not compute. To be quite honest, she doesn't really compute either. I'm not sure where I got my technology background from, but was not my mom. Sorry, mom. Anyways, the point is, I'm hoping that one day we will see maybe a product out there that can keep up with the software as it continues to change, so that we aren't, as an industry, continuing to push new products and new hardware and new infrastructure that requires to rip and replace everything. I'm starting to hear about some really great new products in AI. Yes, that is a very exciting thing, AI. Skynet is coming. No, AI is going to make a really big impact in our industry as well as the other industries. And I think that it is our responsibility that we think through the entire journey of how that affects our communities. I'm passionate about making sure that the products that we put out there are actually making a difference and not creating new problems. I'm working with a new client with something that's going to market. They might have a solution for a problem, but then the next step doesn't get followed through. You're actually creating an automation issue that ends up becoming manual for the management or the resident on site that wasn't there to begin with. So as you can see, there can be issues. Now, apart from nerding out and totally getting involved, talking to manufacturers, talking to friends, talking to property managers and developers, I definitely want to talk about grit. The requirement that you need to survive in this industry, whether you're working on your first startup or your upteenth startup, or you're just starting out as a leasing agent or property manager, an asset manager, a facilities maintenance person, a groundskeeper. I'm excited to spend some time not just talking to people who have made a huge impact in this industry with different companies, but also understand a little bit more about what it's like working on site now, especially with all of the advances in technology. Personally, I define grit by I never stop. I never stopped, and I still don't. I'm continually trying to learn how to continue striving to grow despite massive challenges that get in the way. And when I think back to a lot of the stories that I have, sometimes things I've shared with people, sometimes I haven't, I'll be sharing them here, and why you really do need it to be successful in this industry. Now, speaking of success, how have they grown in this industry, both on the operator side and the vendor side? How have they grown from their early beginnings of creating a product on their couch, or starting as a housekeeper on property and now they're running a property management company, or they were a property manager and now they're in the C-suite? How does that happen? And not just that, I want to know about the daily successes of the people on site. We are going to explore some of the spooky side of multifamily, and even of PropTech. I am going to be asking the exciting and hard questions about how running a property can have massive challenges that I think a lot of companies need to understand. This industry is personal. It is family. And I think operators who make a community building home, they know that it's home, and that's why it's so personal. That's why you see at any of the regional apartment association events, the local carpet vendor, "What's up, Tony?" They buy out the bar because they know that they show up big, because everybody else in that community, they show up for them too. They know that you're always going to show up and do your job, and they're always going to show up and give you business. And it's a cyclical, recurrent thing that happens. And it's a great thing to see, both in a small way and in a massive way. All of these exciting different startups that are happening constantly with these great big dreams of going to IPO, becoming this public behemoth, the unicorn. If you watch that show on Apple, by the way, that was really, really good. You should watch it. It's all about, it's based on the story of WeWork and stuff, but it's definitely going to give you an idea in a huge, dramatic way of what can happen with a startup in tech and real estate. So yeah, watch it if you haven't. It's kind of funny. There were a lot of parallels to some of the companies that I've either worked for or that I have consulted for. All right, so this episode is called Let's Talk, and I would like to talk shit about no. A lot of you are probably like shaking. No, look, the truth is, if you look at my background, if you look at the companies I've worked for, my network, I know where a lot of the bodies are buried. I do. And that can be either a really good thing or a really bad thing. I like to think of it in the positive. I'd like my adversaries to think of it as a warning. How did you get here? What did you do to get here? Oh. Whether you're on the management side of multifamily or you're a vendor. I guess this actually transitions into my other part. How did I get here? How did I get into property management? I needed somewhere to live and I needed a job. There you go. How did I get into technology? Well, I got laid off from property management. And one of the corporate clients that I leased a property to with that company was working across the street, PropTech startup. I thought, you know what, this would be really great in the hands of leasing agents. So I pitched them an idea. Right after I put my stuff in my trunk, I walked across the street, asked them if they were available, and I was like, yo, here's my idea. And they loved it. I built a real estate vertical for them. I worked for them for almost 2 years. I was able to find really great investors for them to put a cap on their Series A. Just basically learned how not to talk to VCs, because you can tell I'm very gregarious and funny and blah, blah, blah. Maybe I'm funny, I don't know. I babble a bit, and you can't do that at all. So that was something that was new for me in all of that. But it was great too. I met one of my favorite mentors, Rich Tarity. He taught me the importance of getting to know as quickly as possible. Also, I have his book. His book is right here, The Intelligence Within. I'm going to plug for that. It's a great book. Definitely gives you a lot of insight into running multiple tech companies that he has been very successful with. Rich, you can pay me later. Anyway, so that was a great experience. Yes, I've worked for RealPage and Stratus. Stratus was one of the first umbrella platforms that connected all these fun different devices together so that you would have one app on site, one dashboard that would control everything on site. And this is why I was so excited about that. And I still am. Let me just give you a beautiful example. And this is something that I always tell new salespeople in SaaS, especially in access control, to really keep an eye out on if they are viewing a property. Start from the minute someone steps foot on your property. The second that foot hits the ground and they're on your lot, how do they get into the community and how do you control it? That's your first question for anything that you implement in your tech stack. And honestly, SaaS people, manufacturer people, access people, if you want to know how to win over a property manager or a portfolio owner, understand how they sell their property. And if you don't know how to sell it, you'll never be able to sell it to them. So that's my little, take it or leave it. And the minute you step foot on someone's property, I call it the physical security access journey. And what's interesting about that is that it could have a gate, and then you could have the front door. You can have your office and the amenities. You have like exterior gates, maybe an additional gate for a train line, your gym, your actual apartment unit, any fun devices that might be in that unit, garage access and different controls there. It's a lot. Let's just say it's 9, right? 9 different credentials that you had to set up for every single person that moved in. And guess what? You had to physically move every single one out of the community as well. And that doesn't happen. It totally doesn't happen. Whenever you go on a tour with a leasing agent and they fish out a random gate clicker from the desk, that was somebody's gate clicker from when they lived there. And that's just like, guys, it's like there's such a better way to do it, but that's how it's done. If your teams on site are not successful with the products that you put in their hands to be efficient, your residents aren't going to be successful either. You're looking at making your leasing team, your maintenance team, basically like, what's the Best Buy? Is that the Geek Squad? You're turning them into Geek Squad, and half of them have no idea how to be Geek Squad. And that's okay. That's why you need to find the right kind of technology to implement that makes sense, talks to each other, and continues to update with longevity for your communities. I'm also planning on going to a bunch of the different conferences that are out there. For every show that I go to, I'll try to get you the best information I can on whether it's worth your time, how much the costs are actually looking at, and what is the fun you can get yourself involved to. Because if you have followed me over the years, Ashley James likes to find fun. It is so much fun to just get down and dirty with the nerdiness and just totally tech out, totally geek out, totally nerd out with so many of you amazing people. So I'm going to be going to conferences. And if you are a leasing agent and you're interested in me coming and viewing your property, I am located in the greater Philadelphia area. I would love to come check out your property. Please reach out to me. You can go to my website, spta.info. That's for my advisory, strategic PropTech advisory. My contact information is there. You can also follow me on YouTube. Hit subscribe. It's over here somewhere. This is on LinkedIn. It probably doesn't have us. You can just hit the yes. You want to do the smile face. You want to hit all the links. Anyways, thanks for joining. I'll see you next time.